2026 is here. Hello and welcome to a bonsai vlog. And in this video, we're going to the Irish National Bonsai Exhibition in Limerick. This is going to be like the first Irish bonsai exhibition. I'm going to take you guys along with me as I go. Now before I begin this video, I had a package arrive today. This is a bundle of 25 Japanese larch. Whenever you get trees, you can buy them bare root like this. And my plan is to turn hopefully each one of these into a starter tree as a bonsai that I'll sell on my store. If you've just got a Japanese larch bundle like this and you've never worked on them before, I highly recommend for your first time wearing some gloves or something because they can give you contact dermatitis, especially when they're bare root. For some reason for me, only when they're bundled like this and I handle them do I come out with like irritation on my hands. But once they're planted up and I work on them as a bonsai, I don't. So this is what a bundle looks like when it is just opened. These trees have plenty of roots, plenty to work with. Now I'm going to take all of these trees and just leave them soaking in water for 24 hours before they're potted up. I think already, just because these are so young and I got them specifically like this, look how bendy they are. I can give these so many curves and twists and it will look really nice as little starter trees. And now before I go catch my bus, because I need to go real soon, I want to show you guys something. Oh, look at this. New stock of my new book came in also. I've been really excited to release this book and I had so much really nice feedback from you guys who did get this book. It is available in bookstores worldwide. However, if you would like your own signed copy from me, that will be available on my website. I'll leave a link in the description. So I have just arrived at Dublin Airport and now I have to get a connecting bus that takes me from Dublin to Limerick. I just met a friend from, where are you from, New Jersey?
New Jersey originally, yeah.
This is Andrew. Off camera we just had a little discussion about bonsai and I always find it really interesting when I meet someone who hasn't done bonsai, like who isn't really involved, and just hearing like what it's like for them just from the outside.
They seem to be very delicate. They look to be very delicate. I think they're actually very cool because it's like a little tiny tree you can have on your desk, which I find very relaxing. I've always been into the kind of the Asian kind of garden. Well, after meeting you, Adam, I think I might give it a try.
Really?
Growing a bonsai tree, yeah. Because I know my wifey Dell would really like it, and my kids would probably enjoy too.
Like one of the things I really like to do is like inspire new people to get in to the hobby. I'm gonna give you one of my books if you'd like one. I only brought 3 with me to give to people, and if it's something you think you'll enjoy.
And you wrote this book, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh wow. God. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. So we have just arrived in Limerick City. It's not raining. I'm gonna go try and find my hotel. So we have arrived at the hotel. Finally, I've had like 6.5 hours of traveling today. Let's do a quick little room tour. This is what it looks like when you come in the door. The bed is here. You got some hangers, a little cupboard. What's in there? Ironing board, grooming kits, many grooming kits. And each grooming kit consists of these little pads, cotton bud, another cotton bud, and a little file for your nails. There's a coffee machine, pretty nice looking shower, and finally a mirror right here. So every time I do one of these bonsai vlogs, I want to include a Q&A in it. This is going to be the first Q&A of 2026. And before we begin, if you would like to submit questions for the next Q&A, leave them in the comments of this video. Okay, so this first question I get asked quite a lot. How long does the wire need to stay around the tree? So basically in bonsai, if you want to shape a branch, one of the methods that we use is wiring. We'll use either annealed copper or anodized aluminium wire. You wrap it around the branch, bend it into position, then over some time you take the wire off. And I can't say exactly like, you know, every single time you must leave this on for X amount of time, because it really depends on the tree and how quickly it grows. If you wired a branch and it was a really fast growing tree, and within 1 month that branch thickened a lot and the wire bit in and scarred that, you left it on too long, you would have had to take that off much sooner. And not only does the species of the tree matter, but also how young the tree is and how much energy it's going to push out. Sometimes trees, for whatever reason, don't grow as fast. So just when it comes to keeping wire on the tree and taking it off, as a general rule, you want to leave it on long enough that it just ever so slightly begins to bite into the branch, but not enough that it will scar it, just enough that it will hold the branch sufficiently in place. Why are you spraying your trees? This is a comment on one of my videos where I sprayed one of my maples with lime sulfur in order to give it a winter wash. And essentially what this is doing is spraying a coat of diluted lime sulfur over your trees in order to kill off any bacteria or fungi or even insects that may be on your trees dormant over winter. If they are dormant over winter and then spring comes where you've got all this humidity and warmth, especially for fungus, that can multiply pretty quickly, and as a result the healthier trees can suffer. So in winter we give everything sort of like a decontamination. Do you feel any cracks while drastically bending the tree? Just curious. This is something that does happen in bonsai. If you go a little bit too far, sometimes the branch can actually snap, dead, you gotta start over. That has happened to me a few times and it will probably happen again. Happens to all of us. But yes, as you are drastically bending some branches, you can hear little cracking noises. This is the inner fibers of the wood of the tree inside breaking apart. A little bit of cracking's fine. It's not going to harm the tree. It'll still be able to take up water, but you really don't want to overdo it. But yeah, that concludes the Q&A. Morning. It is currently 10 a.m. The exhibition today starts at 10 a.m. so I'm gonna start making my way to that. And I also have to say it is such a beautiful day here today. I mean, for Ireland, back where I was over the last few weeks, it's just been raining like every day. Oh my god, Phil, how's it going? How are you getting on?
It's alright.
This is Simon, by the way. I just made another friend. We went to the bonsai exhibition place. They're still setting up.
Politely gave me a book.
Yeah, I give Simon one of my
Signed.
books. You've been doing bonsai how long?
About 8 years. I think it's nice to see kind of more of an all-Ireland show as opposed to club shows. Like, it's nice to bring people together. The venue looks quite well, given how small it is, but it looks very professionally set up. There's some really nice trees. I think it's my first time coming to a bonsai show. Yeah, it's kind of funny because the scale of things when you're standing close to them, like a more professional in style, it's like, it's so different. So like walking in kind of going, all my trees are like adorable and tiny, and you walk in and I'm like, oh, that's as big as me. So it is kind of interesting to see them up close and kind of how just the level of work that goes into like to have a show. I was like, oh, some of my trees are show already. No, not even a little bit, but.
Okay, so everything appears to be set up now. All the trees look fantastic. I'm going to take you around some of them, show you what's going on. Whenever you come in, this is the first tree that you see. Look at that.
There's moss on a tree there now. There's one.
What species is this one?
This is beech.
European beech.
Created from scratch.
Was it?
By this gentleman.
Oh wow. Was this grown in a field or anything first?
These were gathered from various roadside locations, edges of forests, all of them quite scrappy in their own right, but when they were put together, they seem to work. So that's about 5 years since they were put together. Hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, that whole canopy builds out.
Yeah, look at that. It's nice and wide, so it gives it nice balance in the pot.
And because every tree is different, some of them are weaker, some of them are stronger. So it's a question of trying to balance the vigor on each tree. Actually, the weakest tree is the bigger one, strangely enough. Even though it's higher, it's totally surrounded by others. So
people wouldn't like that feature, but I actually quite like that in the
Yeah, like
top
deadwood
deck
on a beech or is not normally considered good, but I suppose we have it well spread and gives a sense of age. Initially, it was in a big box, as big as the table it's on, so it was very vigorous. So I was pruning quite hard. Some of the trees and the weaker ones I was letting stretch. It's in this pot since spring of, I guess, 2025. The previous year to that, I did a lot of pinching back, pruning back, and also some pruning of the leaves, cutting of the leaves, so partial defoliation.
And you find that gives you like better ramification, brings it
Yeah,
tighter?
it was actually so dense that I needed to, or I was going to start losing ramification. This past season, after it went into this pot, it didn't require that. So this,
Wow, look
this
at that.
large,
Oh my God.
this is a clump, so this is all grown from one root. So it's one tree.
Wow.
So I don't have the same concerns.
So it's kind of like a raft, how you would, like, lay it down the side.
Yeah, so it's just totally naturally occurring. It's a tree I collected from the wild, and maybe I've been growing it in this pot for about 9 or 10 years. Sorry, not in this pot, but I've been growing it as a bonsai.
Yeah.
Previous to collecting it, I pruned it back hard in the field. So
I'm really curious about this pot. Like, is it's metal?
yeah, it's metal. It's iron, I guess. It's one I made.
Wow.
With the tree in mind, because the tree is so big and broad. I wanted to make something for it myself. And I have been experimenting with metal and steel and stuff like that for pots.
This is Japanese larch.
Colour kind of ties in with the...
This must look amazing whenever that all opens. It's like, oh, I can see like a little cone there too.
Yeah, it has so much seasonality. You know, it's cool looking now in the winter time when those little stars of green start to appear.
And I love this deadwood feature. So this was once, did you do that or is that natural?
Yeah, so I would have cut that when it was in the ground before ever I collected it. I cut that. It's not a typical kind of gin, really, and there's arguments to take it away, but I live with it, and it's
Have you
nice.
deliberately not whitened it, or?
Yeah, I've left this natural. Just preference. You could whiten it and then let the whiteness kind of recede and be more grey, but I think it doesn't need. I've left a lot of the natural lichens and mosses and things on it, really, you know, for more of a natural look.
Yeah, look at that. That's beautiful.
Because, you know, I collected it from about 20 miles from where I live. Kind of it's up on a kind of a mountainy area that's covered in bogland. This accent is actually, that's an old fence post.
Oh, wow, okay.
A rustic type fence post, taken from very close to where this
So,
tree
like,
was collected.
This plus this kind of tells a story of the region.
Yeah, so all this kind of natural heathers and mosses and grasses, they're all indigenous to the place that this was collected.
Wow.
Even though it's a Japanese larch, it was grown in the Irish countryside. As a self-seeded wild plant at the edge of a forestry. And even this stone is the sort of stone that you might get in the Burren or neighbouring kind of areas.
Was this around this area, or is this a special stone that you?
No, this was collected. This was found. I stumbled upon this out for a walk one day.
And then this is just like natural, like collected moss. There's no special moss or anything, or?
Yeah. So again, this is moss from the area, and I try to put a mixture of different shades and colours. I think if you mix your mosses, you get a sense of a dappled shade. Yeah.
You see all the different.
Yeah. I know the light's a little bit low here, but so I have another tree in the corner here. So this is a much different sort of origin. This is a tree I got from a man called Peter Warren. So he sourced this tree from Shunken Nursery in Japan. It's Itagoya, I think.
Okay.
But I'm not super on junipers. And as far as I know, it's a tree from the nursery that some of the apprentices used to practice on, or guests there would practice on.
Oh, I love how the trunk there just twists and turns.
Yeah, it's got that real classic.
So if someone were doing this at home, how would they achieve that twisty trunk? Just bend it when
it's
young?
basically bending wire, twisting. It's simple technique multiplied by time.
Yeah.
So this is quite old, I think.
And that would have been done when it was like, you know, less than the thickness of my finger.
Absolutely.
Give it that
as
bend.
thick as these stems are now. And I suppose it's the sum of many different hands working on it. This table was made by my brother-in-law.
That's the thing about exhibitions, because I'm pretty new to exhibitions. The table and the pot and the tree is all like sort of one.
Yeah, I suppose the tree is the primary thing. The pot's important. The table, the accent is important.
Look at that. So what's the story of this accent plant?
This is a little cyclamen. Cyclamen coum. in a nice little pot. I forget the source of that. That's a very simple little jita or slab. So I suppose some of the principles of display are there. You know, you try to have different colours, different shapes, the accent kind of moving towards the tree. You'll see it right throughout the exhibition where people have thought about what's going with the tree. So it's small, but it's compact. I like this tree. It's
the grey pot goes really well with it.
yeah.
And the shape of the pot too, like the circle.
Yeah, this is so primitive, so old, so basic, and just a nice simple contrast.
This is a Miyajima white pine. White pine grafted on black rootstock.
Yeah.
That was purchased for me by Peter Warren in 2019 from Kunio Kobayashi Shunkaien in Tokyo.
Wow.
And at the time the tree had far less foliage than it has now. So in the intervening 6 years we have been basically working to build up ramification and refinement and branch
Yeah, it's
density.
definitely got that. You can see from the underside all this ramifications going on. And you were talking earlier about the type of white pine that's grafted onto the black.
Yeah, my understanding is the Miyajima is a specific type of white pine that they use in Takamatsu. It's an actual cultivar onto which they graft to the black rootstock. And there's probably a possibility this tree may have been field grown in the early stages before it went into a pot and ultimately became a bonsai. It arrived in 2020, just before the lockdown.
Oh my God, so you're lucky to get it right before that happened?
Yeah, lucky to get it before the lockdown, and it's been in my garden since.
Yeah, I just love the roots here on the top.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It was
When
quite.
it comes out. And you've repotted this before?
We repotted it once since it came over.
How was that operation?
It was okay. The repot was relatively minor in terms of the amount of work we did to the roots, but it was essential because we were getting problems with percolation.
Okay.
Water wasn't going down
Yeah.
when you'd water it.
And what type of soil would you be using here? And any the care tips for anyone who just gets one of these trees for the
For
first time?
pines, we always use a 4-part mix, equal parts of Akadama, Kiryu, pumice and lava with added biochar.
And what is the Kiryu one? I've never used that before.
Kiryu is a type of sand, originates in Japan, and it's a good addition to substrate from the point of view of growing mycelium and mycorrhiza and beneficial fungi. This is a Korean hornbeam, again
Look at that! Oh my God.
purchased for us by Peter Warren in Japan, and I think it may have come from Akiyama Minoru. It's in a Yamafusa pot, which is due to be changed this year. The pot has gone a little bit small for the crown of the tree, so we bought a Koyo pot, similar colour, but it's going to be a good bit wider and deeper back to front, but it will be the same depth this way.
Just an excellent quality tree, like.
Yeah, it's a very highly ramified hornbeam. It's very good structure, branches in the right places, very good hierarchy of branches through the tree.
From like this Korean hornbeam?
Korean hornbeam, yes.
Oh my God. So for people that don't know the difference between like normal hornbeam and Korean?
Korean hornbeam are, in comparison to European hornbeam, are probably slower growth rate, but you can build up very, very fine ramification on them.
So that makes this tree even more desirable because it's a Korean hornbeam?
I would imagine so, or possibly would make it there. It's the one thing you need to be careful of with Korean hornbeam. They can get very slow in the pot if they get root bound, so it's a good idea to feed them in the spring.
Okay.
When they're flushing out their first flush.
Yeah.
The beauty of alternating species in general, and particularly Korean hornbeam, is that fertilizing in the spring doesn't unduly affect internode length.
Okay. So you could go high nitrogen with this and it wouldn't?
Well, you go with a balanced feed, normally 5-5-5, something like BioGold.
Okay.
In our case, we use a Brachus from Bonsai Plaza in tea bags with sphagnum moss and biochar.
Okay.
This is a Scots pine.
Oh, okay, beautiful. Look at that.
This tree was collected in the north of Spain by David Quintana about 15 years ago. The one thing about Scots pines that are collected in northern Spain, in the northern half of Spain, the bark characteristics of Scots pine seems to be better.
The colour of the needles is actually really interesting for a Scots pine, because a lot of the ones that I see are a lot lighter color. Anything different with this one, or?
I can only imagine the reason why it's that colour is that we feed pines twice a year with iron tonic.
Okay, right.
And that may account for the blue tinge in the needles. This is a tree that we haven't got the needle length as short as we would like it yet.
Okay.
It was repotted 4 years ago into this Yamaki pot, and we will be trying to, over the next few years, through pinching and through very careful watering in the springtime, trying to reduce the size and the thickness of the needles a little bit more.
And the moss on top here is very green. Is that a certain...
It's naturally on it.
Natural?
It was growing naturally on it.
Wow, look at that. Very fine. It's a nice moss.
Yeah, so it was very easy to prepare for the show because I didn't have to do anything.
It's done itself.
I think if you can get in there and maybe have a look at the bark here, the bark characteristics are very good in this tree. I might send you on a picture of it when it was collected. It's almost irrecognisable to what it is now. He did an amazing job. He bent trunks over and approach grafted in. And a tree we got in 2018. It's a semi-cascade grafted white pine again, Miyajima, and it was bought at the Taikan 10 exhibition sales area by Peter Warren for us at the time. It's quite unusual in that it's a semi-cascade twin apex. So it's not very often that you see a lot of white pines done in the semi-cascade form, but they rarely have the second apex out on the end. Recently been repotted into a bigger Yamaki pot. It was in a smaller pot, and we changed the inclination slightly in that we dropped this pad down a little bit more. So technically it isn't a semi-cascade anymore because the lowest point here is lower than the lowest point of the pot.
It's complete cascade?
Well, it's becoming a complete cascade. I wouldn't say it's a complete cascade yet.
Do you plan to, like, in the future ever, like, tilt this even more as it goes, or is this...
It would depend. It's been repotted for this show, so I would imagine we won't take it out of the pot for at least 5 years. But there would be opportunities maybe to grow out the foliage here on this pad and maybe drop it down. I don't think there would be enough room in the pot to tilt it much more. But it's possibly something we could look at the next
or even if it
repotting.
grows more roots down here, you might get a little bit more... A lot of things that gives these the values, the hidden graft, right?
Yes.
Like, you can't really know where it is.
No, you can't see the graft union.
Very
difficult. In actual fact, there are 3 Miyajima pines here today. The 2 you've just seen and one around the corner. And it's almost impossible to decipher the graft union in them. And that's a very, very important characteristic. It's one of the first things you would look at in a Miyajima pine if you were buying it, is you would investigate the graft union to see how obvious it is. And obviously you'd like it to be seamless.
And whenever you do bonsai, what do you get excited about the most?
Probably time on my own with the trees. I like working on the trees on my own in my own garden. I like going to shows as well. But I find it quite relaxing. I find it quite enjoyable. Particularly in the summertime when they're growing.
Just to chill out in the sun. A cup of coffee or tea.
Cup of coffee or tea, or water.
Very, very beautiful trees. Thank you very much for showing me your trees.
You're very welcome, Adam.
Mark is going to talk about his trees. Mark and I met back in your house whenever I went to the workshop in Cork.
I've been doing bonsai. I'm 50 this year, so I'm doing bonsai since I was 12 years of age.
Oh yeah, you had that silver birch.
Silver birch, I still have it. Yeah.
Is there any of these trees you started from a cutting or a seed?
I have my first bonsai tree here.
Can I see it?
Yeah.
Ah,
it's the silver birch.
Silver birch.
I grew that from seed when I was 12. So this is a Chinese quince. There'd be like a little pinky flower on it. Yeah.
What I love about this one is that bark texture, the colour.
Yeah, so in the summer when the trunk expands, it'll peel. So you get kind of yellow in it and kind of a limey green and orange colours in it. In the bark, it's lovely.
So how did you acquire this tree?
So the tree came in from Japan.
From Japan, it looks like
a top
quality tree.
Yeah, a dealer in Germany contacted me and he said he had the tree that I wanted. He was in Japan and I said, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, loved it.
And even, it's pretty early this year, like it's starting to push leaves already.
Yeah, I suppose we're down in the real bottom of the country in Cork as well, so it'll be that little bit milder.
Yeah, I've even noticed some of my trees are pushing, and then this pot, it works well with the tree.
It does, yeah. So the little accent then is just a rock with the crab and the little pool of water. Yeah.
Look at that. What is it? Because I see a lot of these, like, I'm very new to exhibitions, so I don't really know, like these metal slabs.
Yes, so
What
there's
are
a man
these?
in France makes them. So he just get a bit of carton steel and he'll cut it to whatever shape you want, or you can do the big ones or small ones. I just like them. I like the rusty look.
Did you ever get one that's like the outline of Ireland?
You could do it.
Yeah, you could
You
do it
could
and
do
then
it,
have
yeah. You could do it any way you want. And I just keep that oiled up then. I actually keep that in my house.
Next tree.
Next tree is this olive.
This is a Spanish olive.
Yeah, it's a wild olive. It doesn't produce any olives as such. It comes from
deadwood's
the island
amazing.
of Majorca.
You can see like the pure edge on the deadwood, all these
Yeah,
striations.
yeah. I don't actually like carving that's done in, on some of the trees. It looks a bit unnatural.
Yeah,
like.
you see like the
Yeah.
like holes and stuff.
Yeah, I prefer when I buy a tree that it's got kind of this natural deadwood to it, like.
Yeah, and you can see that nice craggly bark going on there.
Yeah.
Very
So I got
beautiful.
that from Bonsai Sense Raffatoras. Got that tree
Oh
from.
yeah, Rafa.
So there was some collector in Majorca had them,
Yeah.
and I bought it through that collection. And he
There's a lot of like high quality bonsai coming from Spain at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah,
Like,
so you'd have Japan would be nearly probably the biggest, and then you'd have it
Spain?
Spanish would be next. Yeah,
and
Spanish
then
were always
bonsai.
big into bonsai. Yeah, that's a little fern that I got in the trophy last year. Came from Spain. Yeah, it's in a little Japanese pot then.
Oh yeah.
So the jitta would be Japanese.
Yeah, the blue and
as
green,
well.
nice harmonious colours.
It is, yeah. I like it. Yeah. So the
grey pot.
table is Japanese, pot is Japanese, and the
Yeah,
tree
yeah.
then is Spanish.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mark.
Yeah.
Beautiful trees.
Okay, so you want me? Do you have a section? Don't do it in Finland. Nice. Yeah, please.
Okay. To Salven.
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 Yes. Nice. Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay, so this is my friend Salven. I met Salven over a Zoom call. I interviewed him for a documentary that I was making on bonsai, but I had to cut him out because the documentary had to be like 10 minutes long. And now for the first time here today, I met him in the flesh. How's it going, Salven?
Hello.
Hello.
My Hollywood career is ruined because he cut me out.
I'm sorry.
And I'm talking probably too much, and that's why it didn't fit into 10 minutes.
What I find like really interesting is your bonsai experience. I really wanted to include it, but I think it was a story in itself. It
No
was like
problem,
so
no
much. But do you want to like talk a little bit about how you manage trees? Because you're from Finland, right?
Yes. How do I manage? I try. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's possible, but only native species.
For anyone that doesn't know, why is it so difficult for you?
Good point. Yeah, well, it's the climate. So
Yeah.
we have basically winter, which is very harsh for 4 months, but you cannot work on trees for 6 months, basically. So you have 6 months when they are growing, and they grow very fast. And if it's native species, then it manages. If it's not native species, it's basically suffering all the time.
Yeah.
And when the winter comes, then you have to bury it somewhere so that it doesn't, the temperature, when it
So you
drops
bury
to
the whole
minus
pot?
25. Well, we have a kind of semi-hole, so half a meter deep in the ground, and then on the top a little bit of insulation and that kind of stuff.
And then you would have a lot, like an elaborate lighting setup.
That's inside. I tried that also. I had like 3 different places. One where I put the pines, so it's transparent walls, but there is some air inside, so double glazing.
Yes.
Not glass, but double glazed plastic.
Okay.
So that's for pines. But then I had other ones where I even had +5 and that kind of stuff. And I tried with lights, but it takes maybe too much attention for me, because the drying is too strong when it's minus 20 outside and you are heating inside +5, and then you are keeping your lights there, then it sucks the water and you have to water it more, etc., etc., etc.
If someone was in Finland and they wanted to start bonsai, and you said to them like, this tree is the best to start with, that probably won't die, which one would you say?
Pine, please, it's different. Don't bring pines from British Islands, because it just doesn't work. Local pine, Taxus baccata I have very good experience, and larch I have very good. Larch is from here, from Ireland. They are managing very fine. Larch is from Wales also, but pine from Ireland didn't manage. Siberian elm from Ireland didn't manage. So I would say just pine and Taxus baccata and larch. Juniper, yeah. Okay. Well, which juniper? That's a long story again.
Okay, well, thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
And have a good, safe trip back.
Yes, thanks.
Good morning, today is day 2 and it is currently 10:43 a.m. I have to check out of this hotel at 11. The exhibition is actually on over 2 days, so we're going back today to see more trees. I was actually really surprised yesterday at like the quality of trees that is here in Ireland. Super refined trees, even trees that isn't refined are like almost there. There's people that's been here doing it many years, so of course we're going to have this, you know, high standard of trees, and of course people that import from Japan. But it's not enough simply to just import a tree and, you know, sit it in your garden, because over time these trees can, you know, grow out of control. It's the skill and knowledge to be able to keep it that way, keep it looking nice, and develop it further over the years, and you can really see that with the trees in this exhibition.
Good
morning.
Oh, so we just had a visitor overnight. A blackbird ruffled some of the moss.
It came in somehow through the roof.
Obviously he knows the building better than us, so he got in. Luckily though, he didn't do much damage.
Bought it in the trophy 18, was it?
2018, yep.
It was repotted about maybe 4 years ago. Yeah, this is the first time I've had a tree displayed.
Congratulations. Up this way. Hello, Rubes. And this is Ruby Tubes and Val. Val, talk us about your trees, please.
I wouldn't be like really up to scratch.
Rubes, come around, show us here.
So that's like my favourite one. It's John's olive, and I like it because like the back is like white and brown. It's a Spanish amador. It's nice. So yeah.
I bought this one back in 6 years ago. I bought it from Rafa. Got a little bit of touch of frost, early frost last year, and you see where it shaded some of the foliage. But yeah, I'm more than happy with it.
That's beautiful. Seeing the lay veins through the deadwood there, and the splits, even the branches, all natural. Yeah, the Amadori tree. It's around my head. It would need your apex just need filled out a bit here. And sort of your pods just filled in slightly more, but not a whole lot.
Pine, I only bought it last year from David Benaventes. It was actually in the trophy. That the tree itself wasn't being displayed in the trophy, but they had it on
display at the sales table at the trophy.
I only have it one season, so styled by him, isn't it?
Yep, styled by him.
I don't know any other history than that. Only that it was his tree for quite a number of years. That's all I know.
Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at white pine. You get down in, you can see the movement on it. And going forward, what are you going to do, John?
Keeping it style.
Maintenance, pruning, keeping the style going. And year in, year out, and then sort of as areas thicken, you reduce them and remove them and sort of replace them with finer stuff and build up the pods more and more over the years. And the pot, you think you keep that pot? Will you change that or just
keep it?
Keep that pot. I know it's a nice display pot. Yes, it's Muscat's pine. It was Ray Egan pine, collected by Robert Porch, I'd say near on 30 years ago. Got it originally as raw material. This branch was straight this way, the apex was straight this way, and the trunk was on an old dirt track up the forest, and as the trucks and lorries were going over it, the vans and stuff, Robert collected it, got it as raw material. Yes, completely from scratch. I worked on it with Robert, and then worked on it myself. Marco and Vernizzi styled it, Bjorn Borholm styled it, so there's been a lot of hands have gone through it over the years. At one point, it was in the garden, and a football hit it, snapped the apex in half, but I was able to just fold it together straight away, taped it up, left it for 4 or 5 years, and it healed up. Got the health into it, done a bit more work to it, and then my wife's father had passed, and over the funeral the trees hadn't been watered, so it dried out, and the tree was literally yellow. It was lifted out of the pot it was in, put into a mix of sphagnum and acadama, sat for another 4 or 5 years, and come back, got healthy, and been reworked again. And it's sitting in a Hokkaido pot. One of my favourite potter out. It's the biggest Hokkaido pot I've ever come across. It's absolutely stunning. But the view of the tree, you need to come down into sort of this level to see the tree. You need a bigger stand on it, really. Yeah. And moving on in the future, the pads need further ramification and building up in them.
So how many years are you planning, like, before you're happy with, like, the sort of final?
Well, if it doesn't try to die again, I'd say another 5 years anyway, at least, to try to get this to fill in more. And then the more work you do, the more you're changing. So there's a wee bit at the back, which is becoming a bit heavy now, so I may have to change it, but it'll be an ongoing process, just as and when. But if you want to have a look at it underneath, just look at it from above. You sort of see the structure of it. This came from a Spanish Yamadori. It came through Marius Folda at Bookie Bonsai. I had swapped them a big larch for it. I've worked on it with Bjorn Borholm and Rafa Torres. Now, at the minute, it needs an awful lot more ramification building up and the pads filling up. But can you imagine the pads, sort of tight pads like this right through, but still having lots of space to see the movement of the trunk and the movement of the sharies. But it's the deadwood in this is just, that's absolutely stunning. The light's not brilliant in here for it, but it's an absolutely gorgeous tree. Maybe not the best Sabina in the world, but I just love it. It just appealed to me. And when it came originally, it was sitting 90 degrees this way, so this was all coming out flat. So the ideal view of it would be sort of coming in where you're just seeing through here. You're just seeing a bit of light through and seeing the vein. But yes, worked on it with Rafa, yep. And then 2 years back, it was worked again, and then it was only pruned back there about 2 weeks back. Give it a bit of a haircut first, but there's an awful lot still to do. And like any tree, you're constantly replacing the foliage. So ideally, so you can see there's like a big flat pad there, but what you want ideally is sort of you see the way this is? Yeah. So all the foliage is sitting like this. All the downward foliage is removed, but again, that's just over time. So that way, eventually, all the foliage will be sitting up, and it won't take wearing. And this here accent was actually a tree fungus. I can't remember the name, like a tree mushroom, really. It came from a guy in Finland.
Oh, they grow on the
They grow on the trees, yes. Yeah. So I was there 8-9 years ago doing workshops, and he picked this off a tree, sealed it all up for me and posted it over. So what I did is actually plant it up with wee ferns and mosses and stuff. But what I'll do when I go home, I'll take it out of this so the moisture doesn't get in. And then sort of a wee stand he made and stuff to set it up. Really, really, really interesting. This is one of the smaller show hen stands. We have a wee larch. We have a quince. This is just out in flower. Gorgeous wee thing. And a wee accent pot. It is a tree and it's not, but it's more just for a bit of colour. I like it. We have a wee conker with the dormouse in it. If you can pick that up. It's more for an autumn display, but it's all right sitting here. And that has, again, a wee lichen in it. If you can zoom in, see wee trumpets.
Oh, yeah.
And then what'll happen is they get a wee red tip on them. Like a wee miniature matchstick. And here we have an apple, crab apple.
Nagasaki?
Yep. In a coyo pot, and this pot was in the trophy 2-3 years ago in the trophy display. It was the first pot from Ireland on display at it. It tops an Antarctic beach in an old Hokkaido pot, one of my favourites. A cream Hokkaido pot with the wee alum, and if you zoom in on the alum, can you see the ladybird?
Oh yeah, I seen it, yeah.
It's up above. My favourite.
What makes it Hokkaido? Is the maker?
It's the maker. Hokkaido is the maker. I just really love their pots, and they're hard enough to come by. But the cream ones are white, are even harder, and you can actually see the build up of patina, just an old pot. And this one, and there's a cream one over on the other show hand stand. They were on the trophy display at the trophy last year, and then a little small larch there at the bottom. Just a wee Japanese pot of sorts. I'm not sure the maker. It's just an overall wee display. This rack was made by Peter in the club. Made a copper, and I'm not sure what sort of wood he's used there, but very, very unusual stand. Peter's had a Gaba juniper at the top. He's worked on it himself and with Bjorn, Chinese elm. They bought that one in Japan. Wee hawthorn was a near layer off another tree, my club members, and that's potted in an absolutely gorgeous Ian Bailey handmade pot. And as you see there, I think there's a stamp underneath. There's an email. Yep, there is. I signed it. You can pick that up. Beautiful, beautiful potter. The elm is a lovely Hokkaido pot. Again, cream. Just absolutely gorgeous.
It's almost like a burnt on the bottom.
Yeah, and this pot was in, I think it was the first national show in America. I would need to get you the exact detail, but it was used at a show with a big trident maple in it. And there was a guy in England bought it, and then I was able to buy it off him. And then we have the trident maple, going on about 10 years now. It's only a wee small one. Needs a lot more ramification built up, but it's coming in. And a wee paracantha at the end with a few berries and stuff in it. And then we have a larch, wee mushroom with a few wolves in it. Just a wee bit of moss in it for colour, just to make a small accent. And this we're on to, again, another Hokkaido pot, and a Netagawa juniper, which I got in Japan when we were over on honeymoon. Yeah, it needs some more work done to it, needs refined up a bit more. The apex needs reduced, it's getting a bit, it looks like a cabbage. There's just too much foliage. Or if I reduce, open the pads up a wee bit here, remove a bit of foliage. If I reduce it down to sort of about this height, it just brings it more into scale. So at the minute, keeping it out. Plus, I was going to do it the other day, and it would look too bare that side for the show, so we'll just leave it for now. And there's a bit of mud rock. I can actually get down in and look through the wee hollows and crevices and stuff. Unusual rock. And a wee accent there in a gorgeous Tom Benda pot. You can make that out there. And this stand, it was made by an Italian fella. And it's all made out of laminate flooring glued together and then steamed into shape.
They steamed it to get this
steamed to get the bends in, and then just all pinned in together. If you can see the top there, you can sort of see the waist has all been pinned in, so it's all been put in with pressure, more glue than anything, no nails or screws used in them.
As the bonsai too, because bonsai are old, and if this was a flooring, it was used.
Yep, it's been used, recycled as such.
And there you guys have it. That was the first ever Irish National Bonsai Exhibition, and I'm really happy to be able to share it with you guys. I just want to say a big massive thank you to everyone who was involved in putting this show together this weekend. Not only were the trees just high quality, but everyone was absolutely just so welcoming, really open to sharing their ideas about how they developed their trees, how they got them. And just for me, in terms of the community, that's what bonsai is all about. But on that, I'm going to end off this video right here. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like on this video. It really helps out the channel a lot with the YouTube algorithm. And let me and all the other bonsai artists know what you thought of this video and the trees down in the comments below. If you would like to support me and the things that I do on this channel, like traveling and doing these types of bonsai vlogs, hit the thanks button down below. Or if you'd like to become a channel member, hit the join button. That way you will get early access to new videos before they go out to everyone else, and you will get access to membership posts. But on that, thank you so very much for watching.